Good morning and welcome to the Daily Light Devotion. I hope all of you have had a wonderful Wednesday and looking forward to today, that is the 25th of June. Today we're going to continue looking at the book of Job, chapter 4, 5, 6. And in the New Testament, we're going to look at Acts chapter 7, verses 20 to 43. Uh, in the Old Testament, the theme is human wisdom, deep suffering, and the need for a true mediator. Job's friends, Eliphaz speaks for the first time, attempting to explain Job's suffering. These chapters reveal the limitations of human wisdom, the depth of human pain, and the danger of wrong assumptions and the need for divine understanding. Um, we see in chapter 4, Eliphaz begins respectfully. He reminds Job that he has encouraged many people in the past. However, Eliphaz assumes the suffering is always the result of personal sin. He argues those who sow trouble reap it. Eliphaz believes Job must have done something wrong. Eliphaz represents human wisdom, trying to explain the suffering without knowing the full picture. Many people still ask, what did I do wrong? Or why is God allowing this? Jesus reveals the suffering is not always connected to personal sin. Christ sees the whole picture when humans only can see part of it, right? And Jesus understands circumstances that human wisdom cannot explain. Chapter 5, Eliphaz encourages Job to seek God. Some of his statements are true. God is powerful, God disciplines his people, and God is merciful. Yet Eliphaz wrongly assumes Job's suffering must be a divine punishment. His theology contains truth, but his application is kind of flawed. Jesus perfectly understands both truth and grace. Unlike Eliphaz, Jesus never misjudged people. He sees the heart, the motives, the entire situation. Right? Christ offers wisdom without condemnation. Jesus speaks truth with perfect understanding and compassion. Job chapter 6, Job responds honestly. He explains that his suffering is so intense that his words reflect deep anguish. He feels overwhelmed, misunderstood, abandoned by his friends. Job longs for comfort and understanding rather than circumstances. Job desired someone who would understand his pain. Jesus became that personal person for humanity. Christ understands grief, rejection, loneliness, physical suffering. He invites believers to bring their burdens to him. Jesus understands our pain and offers genuine comfort. So, what are some of the key takeaways from these four chapters? That it is human wisdom is limited, right? Suffering is not always a result of sin. Jesus understands what others cannot. God welcomes honest prayers, and Christ offers compassion in times of pain. Now, suffering, when I say, is not it's personal sin. Suffering happens because of the first original sin. Bad things happen, but personal sin can lead to suffering. It does lead to suffering because you open a door to Satan when you're not walking in faith and trusting God. Moving over to the New Testament, Acts chapter 7, verses 20 to 43, the theme is God's deliverance, deliverer rejected, and God's faithfulness despite human resistance. Stephen continues recounting Israel's history and focuses on Moses. These verses reveal God's deliverance, Israel's repeated rejection of God's message, and God's faithfulness despite human rebellion. Verses 20 to 29, Moses is born during a dangerous time when Pharaoh seeks to destroy Hebrew boys, yet God preserves him. Raised in Pharaoh's household, Moses eventually attempts to help his people. Instead of accepting him, they reject him. One man asks, who made you a ruler and a judge over us? So Moses flees into wilderness. Moses was chosen by God but rejected by the very people he came to help. Jesus experienced the same rejection. He came to his own people, yet many refused to receive him. And God's chosen deliverer is often rejected before being received. Verses 30 to 34, we see 40 years later, God appears to Moses in the burning bush. God declares he has seen his people suffering, he has heard their cries, and he will deliver them. God's commissions Moses to rescue Israel from Egypt. God sent Moses to deliver Israel from physical slavery. God sent Jesus to deliver humanity from spiritual slavery. And Christ came because God saw humanity's need and responded with compassion. Jesus is God's ultimate deliverer. Verses 35 to 43, even after Moses leads them out of Egypt, many Israelites continue resisting God. They long for Egypt and eventually turn to idolatry. Though God performs miracles, many reject his leadership. Stephen emphasizes Israel's patterns of resisting God's messenger. The rejection of Moses foreshadows the rejection of Christ. Yet God's purpose still prevails. Despite human resistance, Jesus completed his mission, salvation was accomplished, and God's plan moved forward. Human rejection cannot stop God's redemptive plan. So, what are some of the key takeaways? God sees the suffering of his people. Moses points towards Jesus, the deliverer. God's faithfulness continues despite human failure. And Jesus rescues people from spiritual slavery, and God's purpose cannot be stopped. So, Job 4 to 6 reminds us human understanding is limited and true comfort comes from God. And Acts chapter 7, verses 20 to 43 reveal God's faithfulness in sending deliverer and fulfilling his promises. Today, Jesus still invites us. Trust him when life is difficult. Bring our pain honestly before him. Depend on his wisdom rather than human understanding. Follow him as our deliverer. Rest in his faithful promise. So I want to encourage you and leave you with this. I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Thursday. God bless you all.